Heidi Ann, if there are problems with text difficulty systems, how do you actually establish students' levels in the levels of text?
Right. So
It
yeah, I
seems
mean
a little bit
that's
tautological, yeah.
yeah. So well, that's a great question because you're basically saying the basis upon which you're making decisions is flawed and you're gonna have real problems. Well, of course, the research side of me says, well, we definitely need to develop text difficulty systems beyond, frankly, readability systems that we've had in place for, decades. Um, and I would also say that we need to do the same with the more popular qualitative systems that are, we've got to be careful about one thing predominating over another. But I think it's definitely a research from a classroom perspective. I think it comes down to interacting with students a great deal and knowing what they are reading and piping in and listening to them read orally and making sure that they understand. Um, but I would also say that I've never considered, and I wrote a book about reader text matching, and I was very, very careful in the language that I used throughout to make it clear that when you're establishing a text level, you're always estimating, and that the true kind of level of the text gets revealed when the kid is with it. And so if you kind of start with something, and that's what I would suggest, that you start with something that, and then you observe. So it's not like you're on autopilot, but you're kind of starting the engine to the plane, but you're still really in the pilot seat. Then you'll be in a better position. But yes, they are estimates. Yes, they need to be perfected, and there are lots of things that are not being addressed, and we all know that. But I would frankly say it's better to do something to know a student's reading level and a text level than to just guess.
Okay, but
Um,
Heidi Ann, what would be the something you'd recommend today to people out there? I mean, is it an
I would say,
informal reading
yeah,
inventory?
I mean, and anything, I mean, my get in a measure of the kid's student reading level, anything, an
With what
informal reading.
with what kind of measure though? I mean, do you have something that you recommend? So when you're talking about working with schools, is there some system that you actually recommend? I mean, is it Lexiles? Is it an informal reading inventory? What might
Um,
you what might
my
you
my
recommend?
recommendations, yeah, my recommendations to schools are to get a reading level on the kid within the first 2 weeks of school.
But with what?
With any of those mechanisms. If you want to use an
Okay.
informal reading inventory, that's fine. Many schools don't have the luxury of sitting down. I don't have a real big problem with the STAR test, although I think a lot of people, don't like it. But anything that's going to give you a ballpark figure where to start. I mean, ideally, an informal reading inventory is going to give you more information on your kids, but there are many things out there. And in terms of the levels of the text, my recommendation is to make sure that the units of measure in the students' reading levels are close to the system of leveling text that you are using, so that you're not doing a lot of translation. So if you're getting a kid's student reading level in DRA levels, then are your text leveled according to that system? If you're getting a student's reading level in grade levels, then do you know the grade level units of the text? If you're using Fontes and Pinnell, so it's making sure that those two measures, the student reading level and the text levels, are as close as possible. But in terms of a specific tool, I mean, I think there are plenty of good tools out there. I don't have a strong feeling about one or the other, aside to say that I think an informal reading inventory is strong, but there are many good ones out there.